For most of human history, we believed intelligence belonged to us. Animals reacted, humans thought. Animals followed instinct, humans solved problems. At least, that's what we told ourselves. Then scientists started giving animals puzzles, and things got weird. Crows planned for the future. Octopuses escaped locked enclosures. Dolphins appeared to call each other by individual signals. Elephants recognized themselves, and some animals even learned how to manipulate humans. Today, we're exploring 10 animals that are much smarter than most people realize. But stay until number 1, because this animal doesn't just understand problems, it may understand you. And while you're watching, I want you to decide something. Which animal deserves the title? Smartest animal on Primal Arc? Let's begin. Let's start with an animal humans rarely associate with genius, the rat. For many people, rats mean garbage, sewers, disease. But put one inside a scientific experiment, and suddenly things become interesting. Rats are excellent learners. They can navigate complicated mazes, remember routes, recognize patterns, and adapt when circumstances change. But intelligence isn't only about solving puzzles. Researchers have also observed behavior in rats that looks surprisingly social. In experiments, rats have learned to open restraints containing trapped companions. Some even continued helping when there was no obvious reward for doing so. Think about that. An animal many humans spend their lives trying to eliminate may recognize another individual's distress and respond to it. Rats also play. They learn, they remember, and they communicate using sounds, some of which humans cannot normally hear. Suddenly, that rat running through an alley doesn't look quite so simple. But compared with our next animal, rats are only the beginning. Dogs might seem like an obvious choice, but their greatest intelligence isn't necessarily solving puzzles. It's understanding us. Humans and dogs have lived together for thousands of years. And during that time, dogs became unbelievably good at reading human behavior. Point toward an object, and many dogs understand what you mean. Change your facial expression, they notice. Change your voice, they notice that too. Some dogs can learn the names of dozens, or even hundreds, of different objects. One famous border collie named Chaser learned the names of more than 1,000 toys. But here's where things get interesting. Your dog isn't only listening to words, it's watching everything. Your posture, your routine, where you're looking, the way you're walking, the sound of you getting ready. That's why your dog sometimes knows you're going outside before you touch the door. You think you're unpredictable. Your dog has apparently been studying you for years. But our next animal didn't spend thousands of years evolving beside humans, and it still managed to become frighteningly clever. The octopus feels like something evolution designed. After getting bored with normal animals, 3 hearts, blue blood, 8 arms, and a nervous system unlike our own. A huge number of its neurons are located throughout its arms. Those arms can explore and respond to the environment with remarkable independence. But octopuses don't just have strange bodies. They solve problems. They open containers, navigate mazes, remember solutions, use objects as shelter, and occasionally escape. Aquariums have reported octopuses leaving their tanks, moving across surfaces, entering other tanks, and returning, which raises an uncomfortable question. If your aquarium animal keeps escaping, at what point is it technically testing your intelligence? Octopuses can also change their color and skin texture incredibly quickly, sometimes for camouflage, sometimes for communication. They observe, adapt, experiment, and unlike humans, their evolutionary path is incredibly distant from ours. That means complex intelligence may have evolved independently, in a body almost completely unlike our own. And that's huge, because it suggests intelligence doesn't need to look human. Elephants remember. That's the famous part. But their minds go far beyond memory. Elephants live in complicated social groups. They recognize individuals. protect calves, cooperate, communicate across long distances, and show intense reactions when members of their group die. They've been observed touching bones, especially elephant remains, with unusual attention. We have to be careful about giving human emotions to animals, but elephant behavior repeatedly suggests their social world is incredibly deep. Then there's the mirror test. Place a visible mark on an animal, where it can only see the mark using a mirror. Most animals don't understand that the reflection represents themselves. Some elephants do. They investigate the mark on their own body. That suggests a level of self-recognition, something once considered incredibly rare. Elephants also communicate using low-frequency sounds. Some travel farther than human ears can detect. They can even detect vibrations through the ground. An elephant herd may be exchanging information, while a human standing nearby hears almost nothing. We call ourselves the intelligent species. Meanwhile, the elephants have their own communication network running underneath our feet. Imagine living in an environment where visibility can disappear, but communication remains essential. That's the world dolphins evolved in. Dolphins are intensely social. They cooperate while hunting, learn from each other, play, solve problems, and communicate using complicated sounds. But one discovery changed how scientists thought about dolphin communication. Bottlenose dolphins developed distinctive signature whistles. These whistles function almost like individual identifiers, something surprisingly close to names. A dolphin can produce another dolphin's signature whistle, apparently referring specifically to that individual. Think about what that means. You're swimming through an enormous ocean. You can't see your friend, so you effectively call them. Dolphins have also shown mirror self-recognition. They cooperate in coordinated groups, and different dolphin populations can develop different hunting traditions, passed from one generation to another. That's culture, not human culture, but learned behavior shared socially. And once animals have culture, the line separating human and animal intelligence starts looking much less comfortable. Ask a parrot to speak, and it might repeat you. Cute trick. Except sometimes, it isn't simply repeating. The famous African grey parrot Alex worked with researcher Irene Pepperberg for decades. Alex learned labels for colours, shapes, materials, and quantities. He could answer certain questions about objects, not perfectly, not like a human, but far beyond simple mimicry. African grey parrots have remarkable cognitive abilities, and they're not alone. Many parrots solve puzzles, manipulate objects, learn patterns, and understand cause and effect. Their brains are tiny compared with ours. But brain size isn't everything. Bird brains are organized differently, and evolution managed to pack extraordinary processing power into something light enough to fly, which brings us to another bird, one that might be even more impressive. If a raven is watching you, maybe behave yourself. Ravens belong to the corvid family, alongside crows. And corvids are terrifyingly intelligent. They solve multi-step puzzles, use tools, remember individuals, hide food, and pay attention to who might be watching them. Imagine a raven hiding food, then noticing another raven saw the hiding place. What does it do? It may return later and move the food. That's not simply memory. The bird is behaving as though another animal has information and might use that information against it. Some studies also suggest ravens can plan for future situations. That's an ability humans once loved claiming was uniquely ours. Corvids can recognize human faces too, and crows have remembered threatening faces for years. They can even spread information about dangerous humans to other birds. So somewhere out there, a crow may hate someone because another crow told it to. Humans invented online reviews. Crows apparently invented them with screaming. Now we're getting close to home. Very close. Chimpanzees share much of our evolutionary history. And when you watch their behavior, it shows. They use tools. A chimp may modify a stick, then insert it into a termite mound and pull out insects to eat. Different chimp populations use different tools and techniques, and young chimpanzees learn by watching adults. Again, culture. But chimp intelligence isn't limited to tools. They form alliances, compete for social status, remember relationships, cooperate, deceive, reconcile after conflict, and understand complicated social hierarchies. Some laboratory memory tasks have produced astonishing results. Certain chimpanzees can briefly see numbers on a screen, then remember their locations after the numbers disappear. In some versions of these tasks, their performance can exceed that of adult humans. So yes, a chimpanzee may destroy you at a memory game. Try maintaining your dignity afterward. But there's one animal I deliberately saved for last, not because it's necessarily smarter than every chimpanzee, but because its intelligence developed in a completely different world. And what it does raises one of the strangest questions in animal science. You probably walk past them, maybe every day. Black feathers, loud calls, nothing unusual. But crows may be among the most impressive problem solvers in the animal kingdom. Some crows manufacture tools, not simply use them, make them. New Caledonian crows can shape sticks and other materials, creating tools to retrieve food. They can solve puzzles requiring multiple steps. One action unlocks another, which unlocks another, until finally, food. But here's where things become almost uncomfortable. Crows understand cause and effect surprisingly well. They can remember human faces. They can learn from each other. They can adapt to cities. And they exploit human behavior. Some crows have been observed dropping hard nuts onto roads, allowing vehicles to crack them, then retrieving the food when it's safe. Think about the chain of information required. Hard object, car, impact, broken shell, food, traffic timing. Humans built the road. The crow found another use for it. That's intelligence, not because the crow behaves like a human, but because it solves problems inside a world humans created. And perhaps that's the biggest lesson from every animal in this video. Here's the problem. Humans designed most intelligence tests, so naturally, we tend to test abilities humans value. Language, memory, tool use, problem solving. But imagine dolphins designed the test. Question 1. Navigate through dark ocean water using sound. You failed. Question 2. Identify another individual kilometers away using underwater signals. Failed again. Now an elephant writes the exam. Communicate through vibrations in the ground. Failed. A dog? Identify thousands of chemical signals using smell. Another failure. An octopus? Control 8 flexible arms while changing your skin color and solving a puzzle. Good luck. Maybe asking whether animals are intelligent is the wrong question. Maybe we should ask, what kind of intelligence does each animal have? Because evolution doesn't build intelligence for exams. It builds intelligence for survival. A crow needs to solve different problems from a dolphin. A dolphin needs different abilities from an elephant. And humans? We became extraordinarily good at manipulating our environment. Good enough to build cities, satellites, computers, and somehow, comment sections. Nobody said every invention had to be progress. Now it's your turn. You must choose one animal intelligence. And keep it forever. A crow's problem-solving ability, a dolphin's communication, an elephant's memory, an octopus's adaptability, or a dog's ability to read humans. You only get one, no combinations. Which are you choosing? Put your answer in the comments and explain why. And before you leave, think about this. The next time an animal looks at you, don't immediately assume. You're the only one doing the thinking. Subscribe to Primal Arc and join us as we uncover the strangest, smartest, and most unbelievable parts of the wild. Because the deeper we look into nature, the less ordinary it becomes.